Hi, and welcome back to another episode of We've Been Trapped in This Room for a literal year. What the
Before we start the video, I want to let you know that we're going to be going live on this channel on Saturday, the 27th of March at 8 p.m. GMT with some very, very cool news that I'm really excited to tell you about, that we're really excited to tell you about. I'm sorry.
That's okay. But yeah, this Saturday, March 27th at 8 p.m. GMT, we are going to be live, so I hope to see most of you guys there to come hang out with us. So today's video is going to be our favourite Gothic albums. It's just going to be a select few of albums that we enjoy. This isn't by any means a top 10 list or the best Goth albums of all time. It's just a selection of some of our favourite Goth albums. This video has been requested by a few people over the past few months. So the reason we've been putting this up for a while is because it's kind of hard to think of what goes into a favourite Goth album list, like what genres you can classify for it. Is it purely only Gothic rock music, or is it other genres that Goths also enjoy? For the purpose of this list, we're going to be generally choosing post-punk and Gothic rock bands as opposed to industrial bands and Gothic metal bands and new wave and dark wave, etc.
So making this video, I realised that I'm a huge fan of a lot of Gothic metal music rather than like just goth. So I think we're going to do another video on like Gothic metal alone.
Yeah, we're going to do another video that's like our favourite Gothic albums that have other genres in there that Goths tend to enjoy or has a crossover with it, with the likes of like industrial and Gothic metal and other things like that. Also, as I said, this isn't an extensive, these are the top Goth albums of all time. It's just our personal favourites. And it was kind of hard to whittle it down to ones that I wanted in this video. So of course there's going to be a lot of honourable mentions and stuff that I'm going to put on screen right now. And we also did our best to kind of steer away from the typical albums that you always see on lists like this, like Bauhaus and Joy Division, etc. For anyone curious about any of the music we talk about today, I've actually put together a Spotify playlist of any of the bands and albums we've mentioned in this video, and other things that we enjoy that we couldn't get into this video. So yeah, if you want to check out the Spotify playlist of any of the bands or music that we mentioned today, just check the link in the description down below.
So we're going to start off with a band that we've mentioned a few times on this channel. And I know when we've mentioned them, we've kind of said, you know, The Cure don't really want to be goth necessarily, but unfortunately they are. You know, they're well loved by goths, so of course we had to put them in there.
It's a bit early, isn't it?
So the first album that we're going to mention is Disintegration by The Cure. So the reason I chose this album is because it's, well, my favourite album by The Cure, and the reason for that is because it's really dark and gloomy, and when I first heard it I just thought it was beautiful, and I saw them perform it live as well, which was just really amazing to see. So after that it just became my favourite album. I love listening to the live version, but I also love the studio version. I just think every single song in the album is really beautiful.
So when most people put The Cure on lists like this, they'll normally go with something like Pornography or any of their earlier stuff. But Disintegration is a really dark album, and it feels even darker because it came after they'd already had their pop career sort of come out. And like Lullaby is on this album. Yeah. And if that isn't like the creepiest song you've ever heard in your life, especially when you've seen the music video. Yeah. Also, Love Song is on this album.
And they're still playing all these songs live as well. Like when I saw them, they were playing a lot of songs from this album. I think that just shows it's a great album though.
Yeah, and the title track itself, Disintegration, is just so moody, and the guitar riff in it is incredible. But yeah, the whole album is a trip from start to finish, and it's very melancholic and moody. Maybe not as melancholic and moody as some of the opening songs on Pornography. Of course, if I was going to pick any Cure album to be like my favourite Cure album, I'd probably realistically pick the greatest hits of The Cure. But I feel like picking a greatest hits album is kind of like cheating on a list like this.
Yeah, like that kind of is my go-to now, but this was my favourite album a couple of years ago. It's an album that I just listen to over and over again, but I do kind of go towards listening to the greatest hits, to be fair. But we're not going to put that in there. Maybe we should have, rather than this list, because this list is just every single Cure album.
But now that we've got the obligatory Cure reference out of the way, the next album on this list is Footland by Sisters of Mercy. Now I have to admit, the Sisters of Mercy took a long time to grow on me. When I heard them growing up, I don't know, they just didn't really resonate with me for whatever reason, even though my older brother and sister were really big fans of them. So I heard it a lot when I was younger. It was only kind of when I got older that I started to realise how good they were, and Floodland is just one of the best albums of all time. It has Lucretia on it, it has Dominion on it has This Corrosion on it. If the entire album was just This Corrosion over and over again, it would still make this list. But Lucretia has one of the most recognizable goth music riffs of all time at the start of it. It's just so good every single time I listen to it. And we were actually meant to be seeing them at Mariluna last year, and we'll hopefully be seeing them at Mariluna this year. And I am just living to hear this Corrosion sang by 20,000 drunk goths in a field. It is going to be one of the best moments of our life.
Screw the wedding or anything. This is it. This is
I said one of them. One of them. I didn't say the best.
Okay.
But it's going to be up there. So yeah, Sisters of Mercy, Floodland, genuinely one of the best albums of all time. If you don't like gothic rock music or goth music in general, or you're not vibing with it, listen to Floodlands. I guarantee you will enjoy that album.
So the next album that I want to mention is actually my favourite album, even though we're not like doing this in any order. Just wanted to let you know that. And it is London After Midnight, and it's selected scenes from the end of the world. So yeah, that album has like, honestly, every single song on that album is amazing. I love them all equally, the same amount, which never really happens. Every single song that comes on, I'm like, this one's my favourite. No, this one's my favourite. So I can't really pinpoint any of my favourite songs from that, obviously. If I was to recommend any songs to you though, I would recommend Revenge, Trick or Treat, Sacrifice. They're just like a few of my like favourites. Well, they're all my favourites. It's so hard, don't make me choose. Honestly, like if you just put this album on like a dark, gloomy, rainy day and light some candles, it is amazing.
It is a total vibe.
It's a vibe.
I honestly love this album as well. Every song on it is incredible.
Yeah.
Sacrifice is just one of the best songs ever written.
Yeah.
And this album really puts the gothic in goth music.
Yeah.
Like, it's goth rock, but it's also really theatrical, like instrumentation. It's so moody. There's like sound effects of rain and stuff and thunder.
Like, it's just really easy to listen to, you know. It's just a really like listenable album, if that's a thing.
Also, I know London After Midnight have said they don't want to be pigeonholed into the goth genre because they find it limiting. But I mean, even the cover of this album is hella goth.
Also, I really love the cover of this album too. Like, it's all, I just love everything about this.
The artwork is goth. There's a song on it called The Black Cat. I'm sorry, Sean Brennan, but this is a goth album, okay?
We're sorry that goths like this album, okay, is what he means.
Yeah, if you were going to check out any of the albums on this list and you've never listened to any goth music before, London After Midnight would be a good one to start with, because the album is really listenable. If you put it on a gloomy day in a dark room and light some candles, you just really feel the aesthetic of the album sink into your soul.
And I don't know why, for some reason I was really late on this band. I don't know why, like, I haven't been listening to them for a long time. It's only been like a couple of years, like maybe 4 or 5 years in comparison to like The Cure and stuff. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm really glad that I did actually have a chance to listen to them.
The next album on this list is The Chameleons, Strange Times. I know it's very weird. I know you probably never see this album on a goth music list. I think it's probably because they weren't like aesthetic or moody enough for gothic rock music. It is a post-punk album, and I think it shares a lot of similarities with other gothic rock albums and stuff. But I definitely think because it's such a post-punk album from around that time period, and it does have a lot of gothic rock elements, and it does have a moody vibe through a lot of the songs, it definitely fits on a goth album list. And to be honest, this album made the cut purely for Swamp Thing. Listen to Swamp Thing off this album and tell me that is not a goth rock tune. It's so mesmerizing. The atmosphere in it is really dark through the whole song, and I definitely think it gets missed by a lot of people. Soul in Isolation is another song on this album that I'd recommend, but Swamp Thing really is number one. If you just listen to one song off the album, listen to Swamp Thing. It's so good. It's so addictive. I remember the first time I heard the song, I was actually like, what is this? I came on my Spotify shuffle and I was like, I need to know who this is. But yeah, I know that album might seem a little out of place on this list, but personally, if The Cure are a goth rock band, then The Chameleons, especially this album, is a goth rock album.
I think that's totally fine to say.
God, Swamp Thing is so hypnotic. Just listen to it. It's like someone is casting a spell on you through your headphones. So to wrap up this list is one of my favourite albums. Lynn isn't too much into it, the more a band that I'm into, and it is Killing Joke's Nighttime. I personally love this album. It's a real recent discovery by me, if I'm honest. I didn't listen to Killing Joke at all when I was younger. I only started listening to them about 2-3 years ago. This album is easily one of my personal favourites, nearly purely because because it has Love Like Blood on it, and Love Like Blood just has one of the best bass riffs ever. It's so like poppy and catchy but like moody at the exact same time.
It's not that I don't like this band, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever given them a chance. I don't think I've ever sat down and listened to them. I'm not sure why that is. Like, a lot of people have mentioned them to me. A few of my friends wanted to go see them live and I was like, cool, I'll check them out, and then I just completely forgot. So Conor just showed me one of their songs, Love Like Blood, and turns out I have actually heard them and I do like that song. So I'm gonna go and try listen to the rest of their songs, but I do like that song, so can't say that I don't not like them. You know what I mean?
But yeah, Love Like Blood and 80s are honestly two of my favourite Killing Joke songs, and they're both on this album, so that's why I had to pick this one for this list.
Yeah, that's just a few of our favourite goth albums, but if you'd like to see more videos like this, then let us know and we can go more into detail, or if you want to know more about bands, albums, songs, anything like that, then just let us know in the comments below and we'll be happy to do so.
Yeah, as we said, this isn't an exhaustive list or like by any means the best goth albums of all time. It's just a few of our personal favourites that we enjoy. If you would like to see us expand on it, please let us know in the comments and we can do like gothic metal albums or just general gothic bands that we enjoy that aren't just purely gothic rock or post-punk bands.
Also, if we were to sit here and just kind of like give the name of every single goth song that we liked, we'll be here a long time. So that's why Conor has gone through the effort of making the playlist. So if you are looking for more music, then you can find some cool music there.
Yeah, as I said earlier in the video, I have made a Spotify playlist of all of our favourite gothic music, and it is in the description below if you want to check it out.
So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we both look forward to hanging out with you on the live stream on Saturday.
So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing because it helps us out a lot. So hopefully we'll see most of you guys on Saturday for our live stream, but until then, see you in your nightmares.